Brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
The Larned Lady Indians came into St. John with revenge on their mind, trying to upset the St. John Lady Tigers and avenge an earlier season loss. Couldn't get it done here.
Coach talks all the time about fighting through adversity and manning up, and it's my job to man up and persevere. I'm going to play out the season and try to win as many games as I can for this program.
It's always there, right? It's always in the back of your mind. And I'm sure that's crept into the back of the mind of Lamar Jackson. The pressure that he feels in the playoffs because he hasn't had playoff success. And now Josh Allen, who's had more playoff wins in the history of the NFL, more playoff wins and not appeared in a Super Bowl.
I think he's a good player. He makes a difference. He does. I don't think there's any question that he makes a difference. So, gives them a lot more depth with their pass rush. They can use a lot of different guys, keep some guys fresh. So, I think he is a difference maker.
The answer is yes. The Big Ten at the moment owns college football, and there's no way you can say it doesn't. When you go back to back, that's generational.
Because when I went up and I saw her, usually taller girls are a lot harder for me, but Coach has been training me a lot to handle the taller girls better, so that's helped a lot.
It was awesome because we're not very good against Hayes, and we have broken our dual streak of losing this past year, so I'm really happy about that, and our girls program has just grown so much.
Our games, of course, are all on the radio and all on the internet and whatever, but back then, I don't know if it was KVGB radio, they did, and that was a big time. Boy, we were going to be on the radio.
Darn right, it's big time. KVGB Radio. Hey, welcome to the Wednesday Sports Day show, our last show of the week, as tournament week will engulf us tomorrow and Friday, so we'll get everything in we can today. Steve Webster with you, Mike Corson, and our executive producer, Landon Winkler, who is here to remind us today that there will be no On the Prowl with Mike Corson today. It's like you got to feed the dog every day. You've got to feed the dog every day.
Especially going into 4 off days, he'll get rusty.
I don't think he's going to be back Monday, too, because we're going to have a new executive producer in here on Monday, the lovely Becca.
Does she have a prowl?
No.
We're going to find out. We're going to have one. We don't. Yeah, one
tease it.
Schedule. Okay. On the show today, double dose of Grape and Panther basketball. Lady Panther basketball coach Jade Winter will be in to preview the Salina Invitational Tournament that gets underway tomorrow. Lady Panthers take on Salina South. She's going to be joined by junior Alyssa McCauley will be in on the show today, and sophomore Alex Mayers. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk Grape and boys basketball, get you a Cooper Omot update with head coach Kyle Cree, and then the voice of the Tigers, Gerard Welbrock, joining us here on the program. So let's get to our sounds the past 24 hours and assorted sports headlines. And we'll begin with Gary Wagner, who had the call last night of both Larned boys and girls games on Hits 106.9, talking about the Larned St. John game. Another close game, St. John defeating Larned earlier this season, and they did it again last night as the St. John girls move on into the semifinals against Little River on Thursday as they beat Larned 42-35 last night. On the other girls' semifinal game saw Inman. They're the number 3 seed down there. They beat Maxville by the score of 70-26. On the boys' side, Little River beats Larned 45-43. And then in the other boys' game, the host Tigers, the 3 seed, beat Inman by the score of 45-33. So the quarterfinals consolation bracket. You can't call it the losers bracket anymore. It's a consolation round.
Yeah.
Okay. You
but if you go to Grape and Post, there's no other way to say it that when they're not set, you had to say this team will play the loser of this other game. There's no other way to say it. So you
don't
did
have
have
a
to throw
loser
out the
on
other
one side. Okay, but it's a consolation bracket. gets back underway Thursday, and the same thing with the Hoyston Winter Jam on Thursday. The games last night, quarterfinal games, the Ellenwood girls beating Otis Bison 41-28. Ellsworth boys got a free throw with .03. I don't know what Hesh called it, but it was 39-38, so the Ellsworth boys into the semifinals, beating Ellenwood 39-38. Ellsworth girls over Hoisington 35-29, and the Hoyston boys over La Crosse. That was a number 7 against a 2 seed. The Cardinals roll in that game, winning 52-19. Again, you can see the updated brackets at GreatBendPost.com. College basketball tonight, the Barton Cougars in Hutchinson at the Sports Arena for the Cougar men. It's been their home away from home, winning a national championship on that floor. See if they can keep the mojo going tonight as they'll take on Hutchinson, who's moved into the rankings. They're ranked number 23 this week in the poll that was released yesterday. And Hutch is 9-3, and they are one game ahead of Barton in the standings. Barton right now in 5th, 8-4, 14-4 overall. Barton fell out of the rankings this week, but they are still receiving votes.
So you have one bad half, and you beat the number 12 team who loses one spot, but you fall out of the rankings.
You got 4 losses now. You got to go on a winning streak.
But you beat the number 12 team, or the number 13 team now. So
they're receiving votes, and the way the votes are in this junior college polls, the way the regions are, and how many they have voting, that's the way it normally is. You're going to have 4 teams from your region in, and then if you got another good team, you'll have, I'm sure there's probably been times when there's been 5 teams from one region in there. Just go out and win tonight. You'll be back in the poll. Barton hosts Garden City on Saturday. Lady Cougars take on Hutchinson, who's still smarting from that lashing they took at Dodge City on Saturday. That was Hutch's first loss in 2 years. They're now 17-1, 11-1. They fell to number 4 in the poll. Dodge City's number 3. Lady Cougars, tough overtime loss to Coffeyville, a team who had beat Dodge City the previous game. They are 4-8 and 8-10. We'll have the broadcast for you on B1043 The Point tonight, starting at 5:15. Forward Coleman Hawkins, after the KU game on Saturday, asked if, he's looking back with regret on his decision to transfer to K-State with an NIL deal reported at $2 million. He says, no, I'm just going to keep playing hard. I hope he does.
You ever regretted anything when you got $2 million?
Yeah, exactly. I don't.
Sign me up.
$2 million, but it hasn't worked out. K-State on a 5-game loser going into tonight's game at Waco. It tips at 8 tonight. You can see it on ESPNU. KU also in Texas. They'll play in Fort Worth against TCU. KU 4-2 against TCU, who's 3-3. Jayhawks and Horned Frogs tip tonight at 6 on ESPN2. Okay, other sounds. Trent Green, former Kansas City Chiefs, now a CBS analyst for their broadcast, talking about if Josh Allen and the Bills have pressure on them. Everyone's talking about, Josh Allen 4-1 in the regular season, 0-3 against the Chiefs in the playoffs. The Bills have never won a Super Bowl. And he says, it's hard not to think about that if you're Josh Allen. Although you get out on the field, I don't think you're sitting there going back to throw, and you're saying, gosh, I've never beat these guys before. But this is something that's always, in the back of your mind when you off the field.
He has beat him. He's a cool cat, and I don't understand why it always comes down to, the quarterback. Well, let's see what Josh Allen does, and let's see what the defense does, because probably Josh Allen's not going to take all the blame.
Well, I think Josh Allen's won 2 games at Arrowhead that the defense turned around, including scoring with 13 seconds left against the Chiefs. You think that was good enough that maybe that would get you into this? Don't you feel pretty good with the lead with 13 seconds left to go and they've got to score a touchdown?
It's Patty Mahomes. That's Patty Magic.
It certainly was that day. Chiefs ESPN Chiefs reporter Adam Teicher talking about the return of Charles Emahu, who has made a difference in the Chiefs' pass rush since he came back in late November. He had a sack and forced a fumble in the game against the Texans.
Who? Emahu.
Charles Emahu. You know who he is. Emahu. Paul Feinbaum on the SEC Network. That was tough for Paul to concede that the best college football league in the country is the Big Ten. It's hard for me to say that either. But you can't argue. 3 teams in the top 5 of the final pollers released yesterday. Panther Wrestling yesterday hosting Hayes High in the rivalry matches. Panther boys, that wasn't much of a there wasn't much drama there. They jumped to a 46-3 lead, beat the Indians 52-20. A little bit different in the girls match. And tell me about that was Sierra Stevens talking about taking on a big and tall girl at 190.
Okay, so real quick, dual action. You know you're going to have some opens. So Great Bend had an open for the final weight. So Lars Luders knows this. So you got to plan accordingly. You got to be up by 6 before that final one. So they had just pulled ahead 33-30 at 155. So now you got 2 contested matches left. So he moved his 190-pounder, Danica Klein, down to 170 because the Hayes girl only had 3 wins on the season. So Kira was probably going to easily win that. And then the girl at 190 for Hayes is ranked number 2 at that weight. So Great Bend's better chance would be to have third-ranked Kira Stevens go up against number 2 girl, even though it's 20 pounds heavier. So Danica was down 3-0, comes back and gets a second period pin. And then even being 20 pounds lighter, Kira she threw the girl twice and pinned her 31 seconds into the second period. So that made the score.
Coaching last night.
Just strategy up front. And they did probably like Kara was on yesterday. She says, we're not supposed to scout our opponents. She didn't know she was going to be wrestling up. And when I talked to her afterwards, she said, just try not to look at the girl's record because A, she's 20 pounds heavier, and O, she's actually pretty good. So she went into it blind and just did her thing, and so it was 45-30 after that. Fun stuff.
Yeah, I heard Danica Klein talking about just beating Hayes in the duel. That was big for them.
Yeah, evidently they had a streak. I wasn't aware of that, but got that corrected. Mentioned a kid this morning, so freshman Logan Turner was the 126er on the boys' side. He's the one that lines up against the other freshmen. Both of them have, I think, no varsity wrestling. And you could just see in the Hayes kid's face, uh-oh. It was a 29-second match. So kudos to Logan Turner for getting his first pin.
And sitting there, you're getting trash talked to you by you give your camera to someone else, and then they trash talk you.
And that happened at 2:15. I said, hey, give me my camera back. Trenton Kern's going to go pretty quick. Well, this was 2:15, so the Hayes kid is just, I don't know what he had to have played football. He was stacked. So I said, so it went to the second period, and the girl says, I thought that was going to go quick, mister. I said, look at your kid.
She called you mister?
That's something. I said, look at your kid. He's massive. And then she said, are you body shaming him? I don't think anybody's body shaming that kid.
So that's a new young term, right?
It was an interesting take.
So what's body shaming mean?
If I said that's a big kid and it made him feel bad, I would be body shaming. But this kid, he was very athletically large.
Athletically large.
Yeah.
I like that better than pleasantly plump. Athletically large. Much better than pleasantly plump.
No, yours is alliterative.
And finally, this event took on in Great Bend, and that was the Kinnemans.
It was at the St. John Homecoming Hall and Museum on Sunday. So about 25 people show up, 13 more people online, including...
I would have come down to it if I knew what was going on.
Dean Wade went about 2 hours, so just talking about the history of basketball in St. John and what it's meant to the community.
And they were talking about how cool it was when KVGB radio came down, and that was KVGB FM back in those days, which is now B1043 The Point, would come down and do all the games at the kind of like we do at Hoisington now. I was part of that because George Donnelly always did it, and then when I came up here, and George didn't want to do 4 games, so he just went and ate pie and I had to do 4 games in a row. It was the longest day I've ever had.
Yeah, so that was Kurt Kinnaman, who's been coaching for 38 years now. He was a state champion in 1982. Yeah, you look at the technology today, you can find the game streaming, video, radio stations cover most of the games. But in 1982, imagine being a little school and you're going regional tonight, boys.
I wish I'd have known about that event. That's cool.
So it is up on the St. John Homecoming Hall and Museum Facebook page. They put the entire Zoom meeting up there. So
what about Pie Lady? She was there too.
Yeah, it talks about kind of the history of having those black bottom pies at the St. John Midwinter Classic and how, gosh, if you go back and read any story, the first paragraph always mentions the homemade
the
pies.
pie it's what it's known for.
So I'm trying to get to the bottom of that. There will be a story up on Great Bend Post eventually, but efforting.
Okay, so all of this talk about the conspiracy, right? The officials, the NFL.
Yeah, what's the script say?
They want the Chiefs to lose. You know, they'll do anything. They'll make calls. So, you know, Mike Pereira. So he is a former NFL official, later vice president of officiating for the National Football League, currently the head of officiating for the UFL, and since 2010 he served as a rules analyst for Fox Sports. He's gained the nickname Mikey Rulebooks.
Nothing shady about that.
So he was asked on the Rich Eisen podcast about officials in the NFL trying to help the Chiefs. I thought this was very insightful, especially for someone who has officiated and also someone who hasn't officiated and looked at officials and went, what are they doing? They're cheating. There's that mouse again, Becca.
The national conversation that the officials are in the Chiefs' pocket and that they are making calls on Mahomes or for Mahomes that they would not call for other quarterbacks. How does that sit with you when you hear that?
Well, it doesn't resonate with me at all. And because not only was I head of the department for 12 years, but I was actually on the field for a couple years. And the fact that you're looking out for anyone, any team, any individual is a myth. It is an absolute myth. You don't have time to react and say, this is Goff. I'm not going to call this because it's Goff. This is Mahomes. I'm got to call this because it's Mahomes. This is Rice. I remember when I got hired by the NFL, my dad's first thing he said to me was, don't screw the 49ers. and I said, Dad, how am I going to screw the 49ers? He said, well, you know, if Rice gives them, make sure it's a catch on the sideline. And I'm like, Dad, it is literally boom, boom. You don't have time. Mm-hmm. You don't have time to process. It's like 1/26th of a second. You have to see a flash and then make a determination. And you don't have time. And the other thing is, you don't want to get fired. You just want to be right. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's the other myth, the makeup call. A makeup call. So even if I knew I was wrong with the call I made, if I make another bad one to make up for the other team, I'm done. I mean, I'm probably out of playoff contentions with 2 mistakes in one game. So it doesn't bother me because those people that say that don't know a damn thing about officiating. And until you actually put the uniform on and until you have to make those quick judgments, and that includes people in the media who can be quick to criticize. If you haven't done it and you don't recognize how hard it is in real time and how easy it is in super slow motion, then get out of my train, get off my train.
I like it.
Unless he also hit on a little bit later that now, you know, if there's some official out there that's got money on the line in the game, which we've seen a few times, I guess it'd be easier no matter what call it is. You're not worried about getting fired. You're worried about your bet covering.
Yeah, and you might see that at the highest professional levels, but you think it's almost obviously you got young officials for doing youth games, so those are going to be your worst calls, but they're also learning. By the time you get to the professionals, yeah, those guys are basically vetted. And so are they going to get everything? Absolutely not. It's ridiculous. Those NFL guys are unbelievably quick.
It's fun to watch football, and if there is a call made or one not made, I look to see why they made it or why they missed it. Sometimes you can see they're looking at the wrong place.
There's a lot of things.
You don't see what you don't. Yeah.
And then like with the rules of the foot drags or what's a catch.
The NFL, there's way too many rules. There's so much interpretation in it that, wow.
To be fair to them, like they usually call these guys during the game, and if they think the official missed the call, they will say it. They don't try to pat the guy on the back and say, whoa. They don't make excuses. They said, I wouldn't have made that call, or he shouldn't have made that call. And it happens.
You've umpired before.
Yeah, I don't know. That was funny about the makeup call, especially doing Little League and you're behind the plate. Oh, man, I missed that strike. Well, what are you going to do? Let some big ball come in and say, strike? Now you look like an even bigger idiot. But the kicker to that is my last year of doing it, I lost my patience. That's why I decided I wasn't a good official. So I was being pretty chippy. And the biggest thing that would just set me off was home cooking, because I could care less who was playing, or telling me that I made a decision based on something else other than what I saw. And that would just send me off the rails. And I decided I probably shouldn't do this for a living.
That's the reason they made a backstop in baseball. It's not to keep the ball from going back. It's to keep the umpire from going into the stands or people from...
Real quick, last night in the wrestling, the Hayes kid was getting ready to try a takedown, and he clapped in the Great Bend kid's face and then made a move. So Matt Westerhouse and I were looking like, what was that? I was like, it's like a flashbang. So one of the coaches that I kind of changed the call, so he comes storming out of the dugout, and I'm hot to go. And so he snapped his teeth at me, and it immediately reset me. I was like, what just happened? I think that's kind of what the wrestler was doing last night. So getting in a heated argument, chomp your teeth and see what happens.
Okay. Sports Day here on KVGB. Coming up, we're going to talk Great Bend Lady Panther basketball. Stay with it.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Jumpstart your education with Barton Online. You can pick up a class or earn an associate degree for less than half the cost of a university. We are always enrolling. Start when it works for you. Choose from 5 sessions throughout the semester, including 16, 8, and 4-week options. Save big on the way toward your career or tackle your gen eds with our low-cost pathway. Visit online.bartonccc.edu and enroll today.
Sports, leisure, fitness and wellness, even senior and adaptive needs. It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Pick up a program guide or stop by the rec office at 1214 Stone in Great Bend. Or check out the website, greatbendrec.com. Live, play, explore at the rec.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Live, play, explore at the rec.
Marmy Auto Group makes it happen. Central and Western Kansas. Check out our selection of new and pre-owned inventory. Marmy's friendly staff offers top quality service that you've gotten to know over the years. When your existing vehicle needs parts or service, our experienced team will get you back in the game this season. Marmy Chevrolet, GMC, Ford and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep Ram, parts, service, and body shop. Visit Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
Now, in its second decade, it's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Welcome back, Sports Day, brought to you today by the Great Bend Rec Commission, dedicated to improving our community and the lives of its individuals. Also, the Animal Medical Center in Great Bend, large or small, they take care of them all. And by the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street in Great Bend. Time to talk Great Bend Lady Panther basketball. Head coach Jade Winter is in with us today. Alex Mayers, sophomore in, and junior Alyssa McCauley. Okay, here we go. Tournament week. Here we go. You've been good. You've been a nice schedule. Okay, you got Friday, then you got Friday, and then you got Friday, and now you got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then next Tuesday. So here we go.
Yeah,
fun
4
time
games,
of year, right?
4 games back to back. It's crazy.
Are you tired of practicing?
No.
Okay. Alex, are you tired of practicing?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. All right. Alyssa, what about you? You ready to play some games here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's the reason you do it, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Exactly. Okay. How's the week gone for you? Coming back, getting back to work after, taking Hutchinson for a quarter and a half, giving him a heck of a game.
Yeah, we worked on a lot of fundamentals this week, kind of just individual things on offense and defense, making sure that everybody individually is fine-tuned. So then whenever we piece it together today at practice, it'll look a little bit better.
Okay, so you take on Salina South, a team that you've seen this year. That's the first game of the season. When you're going in to have to kind of prepare a little bit for kind of look, this is the time when coaches have to look ahead a little bit. Okay, well, tomorrow we've got to get ready for this one. Is that nice that you've already played your first round opponent?
I think so, yeah. I think it's a good and bad thing because obviously they've played us, so they know kind of what we like to do. But then again, we know kind of where they beat us the first time, and hopefully we can stop that.
What's different from your team since the first game, obviously, and then maybe what you've seen from South so far that maybe they've changed a little bit? They come in with a record of 4-4.
I'd say we move a lot faster. I was even watching just when we were sitting in the conference room, our first game. I was like, we just look a lot faster now than we did that first game. And, you always have those first game jitters that you're scared to shoot the ball. You don't know if the offense is going to work. And I think Salina South, they played pretty much the same game that they had the first time. They're just a little better shooting. They're a little bit more aggressive, but that's everybody that we're going to play.
Yeah, hopefully they don't shoot their threes as well.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Alex, what do you remember about that first game with Salina South on December 6th?
Peyton Fritz, big post.
Yeah.
They had a couple shooters. Mostly just first game and trying to remember everything that we're trying to do.
Tell me about Peyton Fritz. How do you try to control her a little bit?
Well, I feel like it kind of depends on what defense we're running. But try to contain. I mean, we could probably house party her a little bit more down low, but.
I like that, the house party. Okay, all right, cool. Alyssa, what do you remember about that first matchup?
I remember being very, very, very tired. First game in the first home game. Oh, it was bad, but yeah, just mainly really tired and kind of nervous.
Okay, talk about their guards. They seem like, of course, they've got Fritz down there, but then they kind of circle her with some good shooters, and Tamia Cheeks is a good ball player. And to me, it was on you. They want to take you out of the game that first time. So, she was all over you in that first matchup.
Yeah, it was definitely tough. I mean, they're pretty fast, but, I mean, if you run screens and run a good offense, it definitely helps with getting around those guards.
Okay, Hutchinson on Friday, it seemed that you were made a more conscious effort to take the ball because people are kind of playing you up for the three-point shot. Was that kind of the thought? Because you went inside and made a nice move early on the right baseline, had another shot over a 6-1 a little bit later in the game. Is that kind of a conscious effort by you?
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to be a little bit more intentional about going into the lane and not just trying to chuck up shots from the three-point and farther sometimes. But, yeah, getting into the lane has been a lot more helpful.
How's the shot feeling right now headed into Salina tomorrow?
A lot better. We did a lot of shooting at practice the other day, and I kind of got a bunch of that down, so it's definitely feeling a lot better than it was before.
Okay, Alex, talk about your minutes that you're getting now, and when you come into the game, first of all, when you start the game and maybe you're not starting that particular contest, what are you looking for when you're on the bench to begin the game?
Kind of seeing what we're lacking or the strong suits of them. When I go in, I try to be for Hutch. I tried to be more defensive and trying to get more steals and help our offense start more. Okay,
so when you come into the game, what do you think that Alex can bring to the lineup when you come in there? What do you want to do?
I definitely, like Alyssa, I do want to be more intentional with my shots, but I would definitely say I try to talk more. I try to bring more communication, more hype. And defense again. I want to try to help stop so our offense can succeed down low.
Okay, what's tournament week mean for you?
Well, I would definitely say the more team bonding and getting our record. a little bit higher.
Okay, Alyssa, here we go. This one, second year we've gone to Salina. What do you remember about last year's experience there?
Last year, I mean, we definitely came into Salina with a higher record. This year we're kind of the underdogs, but I think with this newer and younger team, we just kind of have a fresher start. So I think going in, we just all need to be confident and just know what we can do with our abilities.
You've got to have the confidence that you can play with anybody right now. It's just been some big runs that have hurt. What's the confidence of the team right now, do you think, Alyssa?
I feel like we do very well at the first half of the game, and then after we kind of just let up. And I don't think we necessarily lose confidence. I think it's just we kind of let them get back, and we kind of take a break ourselves. But I feel like we're all very individually confident. We just need to bring that together and play together with that confidence.
Alex, you're shaking your head over there. So
Yeah, no, I agree, 100%.
So we don't want any big runs, right? So,
Right.
So I mean, what do we do to not let that happen, I guess?
Well, I'd say that's our goal with, like, the confidence or whatever. Like, we could carry confidence into the third quarter and, like, be, like, sound with our capabilities, knowing that we can't let them go on runs. But I would say that's our goal this week for tournament, is to not let them take the run in the third.
Okay. Thoughts on this tournament going into 3 games in 3 days, Coach?
Yeah, I know we sub a lot anyway, but we're definitely going to have to rest some bodies over the course of 3 games because they're not used to playing back-to-back games, especially over the course of 3 days, and they're going to be hard games. Every game for us, I feel like, has been difficult so far, whether we've won or lost. So we can't just go in thinking like, oh, yeah, we'll take this easy because we have 2 more. No, we have to go in and fight every game and then rest and recover and get ready for the next one.
Okay, guys, thanks for coming in today. Listen, never say that I was tired, okay, when your coach is in here, okay? That's
only at the beginning of the season.
Okay. Only
not now.
She's in shape now.
Yeah, okay, good. I didn't want to say, whoa, I didn't know that. Okay. Guys, thanks. Good luck. We'll see you tomorrow in Salina. That's Great Bend Lady Panther basketball talk. We'll talk with Kyle Creek coming up next, preview the Panther boys at the SIT, coming up right after this.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB Great Bend and 95.5 FM K238CK Hoisington.
C&E Doors, this is Cindy.
Me, Ma! I passed my math test!
Great job, Hadley. I knew counting all those parts in our huge inventory would help out.
Don't forget about the springs.
That's right. We have the most in-stock springs of anyone in western Kansas.
Well, I don't know if our inventory is making me smarter or just giving me a headache.
Garage doors, service, and repairs at C&E Doors in Great Bend and Hayes.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Wright, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
If you're needing a healthcare plan for your business, let the experienced and dedicated staff at Freedom Claims Management Incorporated customize a health insurance plan that fits your business's need. Regardless if you're a large corporation or a small business on Main Street, Freedom Claims Management Incorporated can help you provide your employees with great health coverage at an affordable cost. Visit freedomclaimsinc.com where you can schedule a free, no obligation health assessment today. Freedom Claims Management Incorporated in Great Bend.
It's time to talk Great Bend High School basketball with head coach Kyle Cree on Sports Day.
Welcome back to Sports Day. Today brought to you in part by Equity Bank. Here when you need them. Bank local, save big with in-person banking and business banking. Visit equitybank.com for more information. C&E Doors, your full-service garage door company. Follow the orange sign south of 10th and Harrison. And by Eller Automotive Repair, where they specialize in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Kyle Cree, head coach of the Great Bend Panthers, joining us here on a Wednesday instead of a Thursday. Yeah, it's kind of a busy week here, Coach, and I know you're probably feeling the same thing, getting ready to go off on 3 straight days of basketball. So how is tournament week? A little bit more hectic than normal?
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's just as far as preparing and trying to get ready for multiple opponents and, not knowing truly who you're going to play in, like, the second and third round. But thankfully for us, we got a really good coaching staff, and we kind of divide and conquer, and those guys have been great this week.
How much is that? But, yeah, isn't it nice to have an experienced staff that, you guys have been a team for a while? I mean, that goes not only on the floor but on the bench as well, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably say in life, too. So we're there for each other regardless of what the circumstances are. And, yeah, those guys, they definitely help my stress level quite a bit. And, I've definitely coached on other staffs and been head coaches where you don't get as much help, and kind of just makes the head coach's life a little bit more stressful. And I think those guys are just trying to make it to where I still have a little bit of hair by the end of the season, and hopefully I don't have the Webby haircut by the start of next basketball season. So,
well, you just got to watch it. It starts off as the circle, and then the one-way sign, and then it becomes a cul-de-sac. Okay, that's the way it develops.
I'm pretty thankful. I think I've made it farther than my dad and my brother did. So I mean, I could lose it at any moment. So,
all right, Kyle Cree with us right now, and we have Saline Invitational Tournament, and we've got that great win over Hutch. But you know what everybody wants to know about? How's Cooper Omott doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think spirits-wise, he's super positive kid. Obviously he hasn't been practicing with us. He had an X-ray, and it kind of everything seemed positive from that. And then he has an MRI on Friday, so we'll kind of see what the doctors have to say, and definitely do what's best for his health and his future.
Kind of a weird situation there at Hutch because. He went over, and the training table's like right over there, and it's like he's being attended to in wherever. It was just kind of odd on Friday.
Yeah,
night.
I mean that is kind of a little different setup, and but I think the trainer there at Hutch, the lady that works for them, she did a great job. I mean, she was out there right away, and I don't know exactly how Cooper's parents and family feel, but as a coach, I was super thankful and grateful. And I know we go to other schools, and they're not necessarily trying to help kids from other schools. So I thought that was pretty cool that she was out there right away. And from what I've heard, when it comes to dislocating a knee, I think you want to get that thing back in place as soon as possible to prevent the injury to becoming worse. So, yeah, I think that lady, she did a great job.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, and then your team's got to come back from that, and that's when you were basically pulled the game away. So, talk about regrouping your team and what the message was at that point in the basketball game, Kyle, because I know some of your players kind of were a little bit, wow, that didn't look very good.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, on my way out there to help Coop, I could kind of see the distress in some of our guys' faces, and yeah, I mean, they were shook up. I know Zay was shook up for, a little bit, and Jackson Wander, it definitely affected him. But, it kind of goes back to having those assistant coaches and 3 guys that kind of pulled everybody together when I was out there with Coop. And, I thought Daxton, he kind of responded with some energy and some steals, and I thought he played great. So you never know when something that dramatic happens, how your team's going to respond. And, the way that they did respond kind of just, kind of proves what we're made of.
You outscored a very good Hutch team, 35-12 in the second half. Man, that's making a statement, Coach.
Yeah, and that's pretty impressive, and I'm super proud of our guys. And 8 of those 12 points came from the free throw line. So, my message to the team was, maybe if we don't foul late, maybe we hold them, to under 10 points. I mean, really, they had 2 field goals in the second half. We kind of held the Keene kid in check and the big guy Govain on the inside. So just a really impressive defensive performance. And, the guys deserve all the credit.
Okay, so I guess it's life after Coop here, hopefully not for too long, but you're not going to have him here for the short term. So who steps up now? I mean, what's that do to your roster defensively, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, it does change things a little bit, but, I think we started the season with, Ian trying to rest his body a little bit, and then, we gave Jake a little bit of time to, rest his knee and his nose and everything, and, now it's Coop's turn to take a rest, and I will say Coop does not want to. He thinks he can still get out there and run some drills or, try to clean the floor with the managers yesterday, so we had to sit him down a little bit, but, I mean, it's going to be the same guys. I think Taven has improved a great deal this year. Jackson Wander's another guy that'll probably see more minutes. Ethan Summers, he was sick against Hutch, but it seems like he's feeling a little bit better. Cole Fancher's another guy. So, I mean, we got plenty of athletes here at Great Bend High School, so we just got to make sure that everybody's prepared and, they kind of rise to the occasion or get ready for this opportunity.
Very interesting. We were talking about during the broadcast that it's been a long time since I've seen a team that has used 5 different point guards bringing the ball up the court. Now, you didn't let Isaiah do it, or he didn't get to, but that kind of speaks to the versatility of the guys you have on your team that you can do that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that you said that because that's something that we focused on this week. Without Coop, I would say that he's probably our primary point guard.
Yeah.
But Dax is he's on the same level as Coop, so he can do it. But there's some things that we're going to try to do this week where maybe Ian or Jake or Ben or Zay get to bring the ball, and really any of those guys that I mentioned, maybe outside of Taven. But I think Taven kind of knows he's not going to be the point guard. So yeah, we got plenty of guys that can bring it up the court, and Ian and Jake are pretty special because if they've got a guy that's a power forward or a center guarding them, then we'll have them bring the ball. So do you run different sets for each position, or do guys each have to know each position on your set plays? Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give you too much. Or do you just? I feel like you are involved in this Fight Club thing that we got going on. Where we keep some things secret. I think the big thing is just making sure that when we're repping things out or going through things in practice, we make sure guys are practicing multiple positions. So, we don't necessarily have, like a Cole Fancher or a Taven Stroop, type of kid that's probably more post than guard. We don't just stick him on, on the inside and make him do post drills every day. So we want our guys to be able to play inside and out and understand kind of what their responsibilities are for more than just one position. Well, I've got it's called play number 1, and it's when Ian has the ball, brings it across the midcourt line, and he goes down and dunks it with both hands. So that's play number 1, okay? That's right. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, you like that? Okay. Yeah. That's pretty thoughtful. It seems like you put some time into that one. Okay, play 2 is he throws to either wing, okay, whichever who steps out, and then he flashes to the lane and gets a pass and goes down and dunks it with 2 hands. That's play number 2. Okay, so just I'm jotting this down. Okay. Wichita South tomorrow. Talk about the opponent team that comes in. They've struggled a little bit this year. What do you see when you watch them on video? Yeah, regardless of what their record is, and I probably mentioned this before, that being in the G-Wall, they get to play Capon and Wichita Northwest and Powerhouse Wichita Heights. So, some of those losses maybe aren't losses against other teams across the state. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, they play hard. I watched the Capon game last night, and at halftime it was a close game. So I think the big thing for us is understanding, like, these kids are going to play hard. They're not just going to back down, and they do have some athletes. There's no question about that. Well, you've kind of gone to, since the break, you played 3 games. You play on a Friday, then you play on a Friday, then you play on a Friday, and now you're going to get, let's see, we have 3-4 games coming up here in about 6 days, 6 or 7. So, yeah, this is the time to get better now. You practiced enough now. I'm sure the guys are thinking that. Yeah, but it's kind of an inside joke with the team. We always add things, or I guess I add things quite a bit. So even yesterday at practice, we added a few new wrinkles to some of our motion offense. We added a couple new baseline out of bounds plays, and I'm a situation guy, so I want to make sure that we have plays that we're ready to run in case it's a side out of bounds play and we're down by 2 or. Just different situations. So we are always adding plays and making sure that our guys are sharp mentally. Well, I know that your guys would like another crack at Andover. I don't know if they'll be there on Saturday, but
to get there. You've got a couple wins that you need to get. Any thoughts on? I mean, I'm asking you to look forward, but I'm a radio guy. Okay, so okay, so you got Salina Central and Buhler that you'll play the winner of if you can win. Thoughts on those two teams, the 4 and 5 seeds?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of have to look a little bit ahead when you have tournaments like this. So we've got scouting reports on Wichita South, and we also got some information on Buhler, Salina Central, Abilene, and Andover. If I was a bet man, I would probably guess that Central would probably get have the advantage over Buhler, and they've got some big guys, so that'll be kind of good for our post guys. The Salina Central has I think he's probably like a right tackle or a left tackle that's getting some looks in football.
Yeah.
But he can handle the ball. He can drive it. He even kind of has like a Euro step at probably 250 to 270 pounds. And then they got a little guard. That I would kind of compare him to Braylon Council. So just really shifty, can shoot it pretty well. Defensive guy, not the biggest kid on the court, but can rebound. So I think Salina Central will definitely be a test for us.
I'm excited about going to Salina Central. I haven't done a basketball game there since 1991, just a few years ago. So.
Since Marzoff was probably in his 20s, or
well,
what?
Yeah, that's pretty much about the way it was. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of a cool place. I mean, I like those old rustic type gymnasiums. So
yeah, it'll be cool. And I've heard a lot. I've had some friends reach out from Salina that I haven't heard from, and since this time last year, if not longer. So I have some friends there watching, and some family and stuff like that. So that's always cool because. I kind of dedicate a lot of my free time to Great Bend activities and athletics and the kids in the classroom here. So it'll be cool to go back and kind of reminisce and see some of those people that kind of helped me get to where I'm at today.
All right, Kyle Cree with us here on Sports Day. Okay, play one. Recap.
Play one, outlet and run. Just give it to Ian, and it's kind of like running Wildcat in football. Just give him the ball and just see what he can do, right?
Yeah, okay, play two.
Let him drive. Kick it out, and obviously just throw it back to him and probably let him get another dunk.
Okay, all right. Run over those things today. And
That's
then,
right.
Okay, and look up in the stands. I'll give you this when it's time, okay? I'll give you one or two, okay? And kind of one play or two plays off one. So, I mean, it's whatever Ian feels, okay?
We can just give him one of those, those microphones. I know in baseball and softball now, I was talking to Coach Minton yesterday, they got this new earpiece that catchers can wear. So maybe you get up there and you can just send the plays down to maybe to Zay. I mean, you can send them down to Zay, and then Zay can kind of get us into whatever you want us to run.
Well, Zay will say, "Well, Coach, I heard him say 3-pointer."
Yeah, well, hey, you just got to make sure you tell him no lobs off the backboard unless we're up by 40.
That's the message. That's the message to Ben. Okay, I got that.
Maybe. Let's give Ben the earpiece. He'd probably enjoy listening to you than listening to me for the past 3.5 years. So,
Kyle, thanks, man. We'll see you in Salina tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, Kyle Creed joining us here on Sports Day. Back with more right after this.
It's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
Dr. Nels here, Animal Medical Center, and today we want to give a shout out to all the supporting cast at these basketball games. We have some great young men and young women on the court, but we also have some great young men and women playing their instruments, cheering, dancing, all those things. Let's clap for them. When they perform and get done, let's show them a round of applause, show them some love as well, because they deserve it. Dr. Nels here, Animal Medical Center, large or small, we take care of them all.
Extend the life of your equipment with the best warranty program and risk management tool in the agriculture industry. The Cenex Total Protection Plan covers new and used equipment. Receive up to 10 years or 10,000 hours of engine coverage when you use Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster premium diesel fuel and synthetic lubricants. With no deductible, the Cenex Total Protection Plan provides unmatched coverage to give you the power you need to keep your business running like a well-oiled machine.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor, today.
Some people call him Gerard. Most people just call him Grr. It's time for Tiger Talk on Sports Day with the voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers. Here's Gerard Wellbrock.
All right, Gerard Wellbrock joining us here on Sports Day today. Show that's brought to you in part by the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street in Great Bend and by the Cougar Booster Club, continuing their efforts to make the Barton Athletic Department the best in the country. Gerard Wellbrock, I know a lot about you, but I didn't know that we had another thing in common. It was that people rely on you to make the coffee first thing in the morning. How about that?
That's, I'm starting to think that's all they rely on me for, which is okay.
You've got a purpose.
That's probably the only thing I do well, but yes, that's the first task of the morning.
Okay, so
yeah.
Around here,
if I am gone and it's not made, that's where I deduct that. Hey, no one made coffee. I don't know if they drink it when I'm not gone.
I know they don't appreciate you till you're gone like that. So,
yeah.
All right, let's get going here today. Let's go ahead and talk about the Barton women, the Fort Hays State women, who go 1-2. Do we need to bring a priest in when we take on Missouri Western? I mean, in anything, football. They got the Lady Tigers again last Thursday night, 70-69. Then the Lady Tigers bounced back, got a win over Northwest Missouri in impressive fashion on Saturday. But doggone Griffins again. Yeah,
some of it is matchup. Some of it, the way they play. It has a little bit to do with it, and I thought Fort Hays they did not match. And what's funny is they did at first, but they didn't match the physicality of the game. After they had matched the physicality of the game, I thought, Western punched them, they punched back, and okay, they're going to be fine. And then for whatever reason, they kind of lost that a little bit, and it ended up costing them. So that was frustrating. But they shoot a lot of threes. They live and die by the threes. They hit them. And probably the biggest thing, their 5 can shoot the 3 well. Fort Hays State's 5 is a more traditional post, and she had trouble defending. And then when she would go out because this girl hit a couple threes, went out a little bit, try to make it a little bit tougher, she just drove around her. And it was a key swing in the game. And Fort Hays had a chance, didn't execute well, but they might play again and see what happens. But that's then the one hiccup. But then I liked how they bounced back against Northwest, who was number 9 in the country at one point in December. They've hit some tough times, but I thought Fort Hays played, especially the second quarter on, maybe their best basketball of the year. So they've responded both times they've lost, and have played really well, and hopefully they can get on another long run here, because I think they're still at the end of the year going to be in the picture for the MIAA championship. Pitt State's got a couple game lead on them. They only play them once with the scheduling this year, so that's going to make it a little more challenging. But certainly to host a regional, I think they're going to be in the picture if they keep winning. So just got to move on. Can't worry about those 2 losses.
Okay, for the men right now, 12-4 in conference, 5-2. They picked up a couple of wins over Missouri Western and Northwest Missouri on Thursday and Saturday. Thoughts the way the Tiger men are playing right now?
Playing well. And really, they had to have it. You look at them; they're going on the road for 4 straight, starting tomorrow at Rogers State. They have to go out and walk to Washburn a week from the following Wednesday. Washburn's number 1, and they're going to have a great chance to win the whole thing, I think, if they stay healthy. So they had to have those 2 games. Northwest obviously is in the Northwest of old, but they're not as bad as their record. They've had a lot of close losses. They have one of their better players out with an ankle injury. He hasn't played since before Christmas. That's hurt them. And they hung around, and they got a freshman who could shoot the 3. In fact, he's the best 3-point shooter in the conference, and they let him get free a couple times. He had a couple late to make that interesting. That's probably about the only negative. But I thought Fort Hays State gritted both of those out. Western plays a little bit slower tempo, and Fort Hays State with their defense, that was a lower possession game, and probably what was good in both games, and what's really been kind of why it's been difficult for Fort Hays State in the non-con. They led the MIAA in three-point shooting. In conference, they're now last in percentage and second fewest makes. They have not shot the three ball as well, but those last two games, they shot 2 of 10 in the first half, shot 50%, 3 of 6 against Western in the second half, 2 for 4 against Northwest in the second half. They shot at a higher percentage, and that really kind of was the difference in getting them over the hump in those two games. And they're going to have to shoot 50%, but they're going to have to shoot the three ball more on par what they were earlier in the year. And I think they might be able to do that on the road. I mean, they're going on this road trip, and there's a definite division. They do divisions for scheduling, not for the standings. But you look at the southern division of the MIAA and the teams on the northern half, and they play the game differently. They're more loose, more offense, more athletic, where the North tends to grind and be more physical. Yeah. It'll be interesting as they go down there to see it. And no knock on the officials. The game is called differently. I think they call it tighter when you go down to Oklahoma than they do in the games we see up here. And we'll see if Fort Hays State can adjust. I think they like the game maybe not called as tight because they like to get physical. They're going to have to adjust to that, I think, on the road this weekend.
All right, good interstate trip anyway. You down in the Tulsa area, make sure you got quarters. I don't know if they still do that or not.
No, they don't. Well, with the new, the K tag and all that, they don't use the quarters anymore because they accept it. So that's one less thing you have to worry about on the road. Because if I remember the first trip down there, it bit me. I was like, I don't have enough quarters. I had to go stop and get some. But yeah, it does kind of change the dynamics of the trip. That was something kind of look forward to.
Yeah, that's the turnpike trip.
It's like $9 worth of quarters to go to Tahlequah.
All right, Jared, appreciate the time. Have a safe trip. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
See you, Steve.
All right, voice of the Tigers, Gerard Walbrock, with us here on Sports Day.
Take your passion for creating magic behind the curtain to new levels with Barton Community College's Technical Theater program. This new program is designed for students to learn how to create breathtaking light shows, run a state-of-the-art soundboard, and build captivating sets. Unleash your creativity and earn an associate's degree to build the skills you need for a career in theater. Now enrolling for the fall semester. Learn more at techtheater.bartoncccc.edu.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of Your Local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department. Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Sports Day today brought to you by Freedom Claims Management. Innovative healthcare plans for your business. Let them take care of everything for you from start to finish, and continued support. They have you covered. And by the American Plains Co-op Bulk Fuel Department, featuring number 2 Clear Diesel, Bulk Fuel, E10, Fuel Delivery, all your lubricants and fuel supplies. Taking a night off from high school tournament action, but we'll still have plenty of action on the radio for you tonight. Big one down in Hutch. Cole Rife will have the call. 5:15 today on B1043 The Point, as the Cougars take on the Hutchinson Blue Dragons. Big games for both the men and women tonight. And on Hits 106.9, the Jayhawks tonight in Fort Worth. They'll be taking on TCU 5:30 on Hits 106.9. A lot of high school basketball action tomorrow. Action picks back up at the Winter Jam in Hoisington. And the Salina Invitational Tournament gets underway. 4:15 pregame for the Panther boys against Wichita South at 4:15 tomorrow. No sports day tomorrow and Friday. Talk to you from Salina.